Good evening, everyone. We'll get started promptly at 6. Let me see. Good evening, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay? Oh, that's right. Yes. Katrina, does that mean you can hear me? You raised your hand? Okay. Well, you guys have to forgive me. I I'm on vacation, and so I'm in a hoodie, and I'm not shaved or anything like that, but hopefully you guys won't have to look at me too much. I'm gonna share my screen. I just want to confirm everyone can hear. Can someone put a question in the chat or just put something in the chat, say, yes, we hear, I can hear you. Because I'm still getting used to this webinar uh, tool. So please forgive me. Can someone just put in the queue a question? Uh, I see raised hands, so I'm assuming, well, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna unmute someone. Katrina, unmute yourself, please.
Yes, sir.
Can you all hear me?
Yes, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because the webinar technology, I'm still getting used to it. Okay, fair enough. I'm gonna leave you off. I'm gonna leave you on so that you can talk if you need to, so you can kind of run interference for me. But I'm gonna go ahead and
Mhm.
get started. I got the question and answer section up so I can see Q&As coming in. So I'll go ahead and get started. All right, thank you everyone for joining. Because we only have an hour, I'm gonna get right to things and share my screen. Katrina, if you would, when you can see my screen, just kindly let me know.
Yes, sir. I see your screen.
All right, perfect. All right, you can still hear me.
Yes.
All right, perfect. Well, good evening, everyone. This is our second workshops on entrepreneurship. I'm very excited to have you all on, and hopefully this is going to help you all aspiring business owners and also current business owners to go to the next heights. So I got 5 business tips. Three of them I'm going to cover, but before I even get into that, I am going to go through some questions that were asked. But the 3 items that I want to attempt to get through tonight, including the questions, is one, I want to talk about a lean business plan, a lean canvas business plan. Really, really good business planning tool that I think that you all should make yourselves aware of. It's a really simple tool that you can utilize in really starting your business, following a path on your business, but you also can use it as you're looking to grow your business, as you start to develop different segments of your business. So it's a really, really good tool that I want to share with you. Two, I want you to understand that you are all salesmen and saleswomen as business owner. A lot of times people look at sales and they say, oh, used car salesmen, furniture salespeople, and you kind of look at that pressure sales and fast talking type individual. But nothing could be further from the truth, especially as a business owner. You're trying to create trusted partnerships with people. So you're not going to look to fast talk them or try to pull one over on them. You want them to be a customer and a paying customer for life. So we'll talk about that and help you understand how to be a salesperson that brings value to your customers. And finally, I'm going to talk about reinvesting your earnings into income generating assets and ideas. A lot of people I work with, I see them make some money and then they go spend the money. And they don't spend any of the money on assets that are going to help them to keep making money. So you definitely want to do that. When you start earning money, you want to make sure that you're investing back in your business so that you can make more money. So let me go over the questions that were asked, and I'm gonna go through them as quickly as possible. These are some really good questions, guys. Keep those questions coming. These are some really good questions. So I did want to take the time to answer them. And I'm just going to check the Q&A real quick, make sure that there's no questions out there. And if there are, what I'll do, how about I just get through these questions and I'll check the questions. So question number one that came in, and I kind of rearranged these so that hopefully they flow a little bit better. I combined a couple of them so that I can answer them together because they were very similar in nature. But question one is, what is the most rewarding and not rewarding thing about being an entrepreneur? So most not rewarding or unrewarding or the con in being an entrepreneur, it is literally the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. It at times it's harder than marriage, and I've been married 29 years. Running a business is a very challenging endeavor, but it's worth it. Nothing gives me more pride, more joy. I never get burnt out. Well, I do, but it's a different level of burnout. I never wake up not wanting to go do what I set myself up to do. So, though it's the most challenging thing that I've ever done and do, it is the most rewarding thing you'll ever do. So if you're not afraid of a little hard work, a couple of sleepless nights, losing a few friends here and there, it's the best thing for me. So number two, can I have more than one purpose or passion for my business? And I would answer that question of course you can have more than one. But here's what I would ask you to do, whomever asked that question. Find what your purpose is. And here's an easy way to find out what your true purpose is. Anything that you feel upset about, or just kind of just get your blood boiling, like if you go to a restaurant and the service is bad, or you see someone getting bullied, or you see a house that's just not put together right. Whatever offends you the most is usually your purpose. So use that and see if you come up with just one thing, right? I am totally against injustice in every form. And so that's what I fight for. I fight for justice for other people. I fight to put systems in place so that people have equity as they attempt to scale both socially and economically. So try that. Find out what kind of just irks you the most you find that that might be your passion in the work that you should be doing. Hopefully that helps. 3, okay, now this is in my way. Wait a minute. Okay. How do I know if I'm ready for the Great Smart Incubator? Anyone can apply to become part of the incubator. You may already know, if not, whoever asked this question, we are a little bit behind. This program is very popular. It's doing some great work. And of course, more people want to access it than we have in resources. We're working on trying to get additional money to hire more staff. Right now, we have 2.5 people. We're working with about 60 companies, probably got 10 more companies that are on the waiting list. So we will get to you. We do apologize. It is a very popular program, but you can apply at any time. And this is probably the best time to apply when well, I'm not gonna say the best time. If you don't have a business already started, you're welcome to apply because we'll help you work through some of those ideas and really help you start to formulate and put things together at the very ground level. So you can apply at any time to become part of the incubator. Hopefully that answered the question. Okay. Does a nonprofit, and I put in parentheses, corporation need to have a board of directors? The answer is 100% yes. And just so you know, let me just have my little disclaimer. Everything that I'm sharing with you is for informational purposes. I am not an attorney. I'm not an accountant. So I would always ask that you vet anything that I say with one of those professionals. A young lady asked me already, are you going to get a recording of this call? The Zoom? You will. Once this Zoom is complete, I'll email the link to Miss Sophie and Miss Deborah, and they can send it to you, and you can replay it and all that. But so again, informational purposes. But to answer the question, does a nonprofit corporation need to have a board of directors? Yes. All corporations, profit or nonprofit, have to have board of directors. That is part of the legal structure. So yes, your nonprofit should have a board of directors. How do you pick your board of directors? Personally, I pick my board of directors based on 3 things. 1, do they share the passion and the mission that I have? Are we shared? 2, I need a certain talent or skill set that I don't have on my board. For instance, when I first started, I wanted to make sure that I covered all the bases from a legal standpoint, from an accounting standpoint, from an HR standpoint, all those different legal structures, I'm not gonna say legal structures, those different departments within a business. I made sure I got people from those disciplines to be on my board. So they helped me set everything up. And then the last thing that I look for is someone who's committed. I mean, we can share the same passions. You can have all the skills that I need, but if you're not committed, it means nothing to me. So those are the 3 ways I pick my board members. And my board has changed in 15 years at least 5 times because as my business has changed, as the business has grown, I've needed different skill sets. So there's in your bylaws, you'll have times for your directors to roll off. And as directors roll off, we go out and actively recruit specific skill sets that we need to add to the board. Hopefully that answers the question. Not ask another question, I'll be glad to answer. All right. What books do you recommend to read as a new entrepreneur? Great question. And I have 2 answers. The 3 books that really got me started, and I'm going to tell my age, but I read these books back in the 80s. One is in the 90s, 92, 93. Think and Grow Rich, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. There's a book by the gentleman by the name what's his name? Reginald Lewis. The book is titled "Why Should White Men Have All the Fun?" Reginald Lewis became the first Black man to do a $1 billion business acquisition back in the 90s. And actually did in the 80s, but the book was written in the 90s. And I wanted to be Reginald Lewis. I said, I want to have a $1 billion company. I want to do all those things. So those are the books that I read getting started. But I would also recommend that if you're a new entrepreneur, read books that are going to help you get skill sets that you need. So if you know very little about accounting, I would read a couple of accounting books. I'll take a couple of courses. If you know very little about marketing, I would read books about marketing. So Those three books are the ones that I read that kind of got me started. But I also would encourage you to read books that would help you gain skill sets in running and operating the business if you don't have those skill sets already. Okay. These two questions I kind of linked together. What podcast do I listen to and who do I listen to on YouTube? I don't necessarily listen to podcasts, but there's a guy that I definitely listen to. I listen to at least 3 or 4 of his videos a week. Gentleman by the name of Myron Golden, Dr. Myron Golden. He is phenomenal. I mean, he talks about business from a biblical standpoint. So everything he talks about in the business world, he links it to the Bible and how business principles are all biblical principles. Uh, he is phenomenal. And a good thing about him is he gives it up for free. He doesn't say, hey, come join this course and $2.99. And as a matter of fact, his classes to join one of his master classes is like $250,000. But every day he gives up some free information about business development, business startup, how to grow your business. And I mean, he's doing hour-long sessions for free. So I would definitely tap into Myron Golden. He is phenomenal. How do you personally build and maintain sustainable relationships? This is a tricky question because anyone who knows me knows that my circle is very small, and it's always been like that. I've always just been one of those guys who I don't let people get close to me. I just don't. And maybe that's because I've been burned a lot, and sometimes I just see people who are disingenuous. So I personally build relationships with people who share my values, and we have a mutual beneficial relationship. So it can't be one-sided. I can be giving this individual 90% and I can get 10%. And if I'm okay with that 10%, then it's a mutual beneficial relationship for me. That's a really personal thing for you to really flesh out. Because again, for me, you got to have the same value base as me, before we can build anything. So that's just my spiel on that. That question really hit home because it relationships are the new currency, but you want to have the right kind of relationships. You just do. You don't want to have relationships where people have you around because they're expecting something from you. There shouldn't be an expectation. It should be because we have a mutual beneficial relationship. There shouldn't be expectation there. Hope that helps. I'm not going to ramble and go down that rabbit hole because that's one of those questions that kind of cut me a little bit just because of my experiences. Next question. How do I stay above the competition? This is a great question. And whoever asked this question, this is the best question of the night. Kudos to you who asked that question. And I'm going to answer that question. I don't compete. I do not compete. I will run from competition every chance I get. Not in a fearful way, but why compete when there's so much landscape out there to be grown on your own? So I always tell people I don't look to be number one. I look to be the only one. And people that work with me, who work with me and on my staff, they probably wonder why am I always changing and doing different things? Because I don't want to compete. And there's a good book out there that whoever asked this question, you should read. It's called The Blue Ocean Strategy. And I wrote here in your question, raise, reduce, eliminate, create. In the Blue Ocean Strategy, what we look to do is create lanes and segments and opportunities that only we have. So we don't look to get into a market where everyone else is operating and everyone else is doing the same thing. And then we go in and try to compete with them. We look and say, okay, they are all doing this, but they're missing this. So let's go do this and create our own blue ocean. And when you read the book, and it's actually called The Blue Ocean Strategy, it talks about the blue ocean and the red ocean. The red ocean is where all the carnage and the competition and the price gouging and all that stuff goes on, which bloodies the water and turns it red, hence the red ocean. The blue ocean is where no one's at, where you become the only one. And that's where I love to play. I love to be. And again, some of the people on my staff they will probably confirm this. I'm always changing. I'm always going to the next place. And it's on purpose because I don't want to compete. I want to be the only one. I don't want to be number one. Hope that answers your question. Next one, some is. What are some of the communities or organizations that you're involved with? That's another one of those questions that it's not a bad question, but for me, it has changed over the years, depending on where I was within my business strategy. The organizations that I was a member of was for that time. I'll say this, there was a time where I was trying to get my name out there and grace Mar and help people understand who I was and what we do. So I was on a lot of boards. I volunteered to be a part of a lot of boards. I volunteered my services. I joined a lot of trade associations like the National Associates of Mental Health Professionals. I was part of the Housing Counseling Association. Was a part of the North Carolina, what's that called? Nonprofit Members Association. I can't remember the name of a lot of these places, but it was a way for me to network and kind of get my name out there. Organizations I'm involved with now are a lot in I know someone on this call actually works with me. She's probably going to cringe when I say this. I'm now starting to get involved with more political associations. Understanding where I'm trying to go and what I'm trying to do now, political affiliations now mean something to me. And I need to start building those political alliances. So something I've never done in the past, I am finding myself more politically charged. So I've joined the Black Political Caucus recently, and there's some other organizations that I joined. Hopefully that answers your question. If not, put another question in the chat. In the Q&A, and I'll get to those as soon as I get done answering the last couple of questions. How do you overcome the imposter syndrome? Wow. That's number 2. That's the second best question because we all get hit with the imposter syndrome, always. But this is how I get around it. I realize anytime I'm in a room, I'm in a space, I'm in a place, I'm there for one of 3 things. I'm there to listen and learn. I'm there to contribute to the conversation, or I'm there to do one or both, or I'm there to do both. So the problem with most people, including myself, is when they feel like they have nothing to offer to the conversation, when they feel like that they're out of place, they feel like everyone around them is smarter than them or more advanced than them, and I've been there and done that. Here's the thing. You're there to listen and learn and have comfort in that. And I once was told by a very wise man that if all the rooms you go into, you're the smartest man in the room, you're in the wrong rooms. So imposter syndrome in this case is good. You should be in rooms where you feel like you shouldn't be in. That means you feel like that, hey, these guys and girls are smarter than me. That's where you want to be. Hopefully that answered your question. If it didn't, give me another question. What tools and softwares do I use in my business? It just depends. A very inexpensive software that I would encourage you, especially if you're going to be doing anything around gathering data for anything, is a software called Zoho, Zoho. Very inexpensive, very powerful software. It has financial services, CRM, sales, training. It has everything that you would want. And you could get that for probably about $50 a user. And it is a powerful, powerful software. It can do so many things. We were on Zoho for a good 10 years until I literally branched away from Zoho probably 2 years ago when I launched our new proprietary software. So Zoho is a very good one, but there's some other softwares out there, and it depends on what you're trying to do. But Zoho has everything, so that would be a really good one for you to explore. It's Zoho, Zoho. Okay, and business credit. Now, I wasn't going to answer this question because we answered it in the last call, but I said I want to answer it because I want to give it a little spin. So in the last call said the best way to start business credit is, Uline gives everyone credit. British Petroleum, fuel cards gives everyone credit. Businesses anyway, they usually are the starting points for most organizations. But I'm going to show you a really, 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 really good way to get some decent credit too. Go out there and get you a contract. Go out there and get you a $10, $15, $20,000 contract. Then take it to your bank or someone and say, hey, I got this contract. I don't have the money to fulfill it. Give me a line of credit against this contract. You'll be surprised. So that way, you not only know you got money coming in before you go out there and borrow money, but also you're building credit. So that's a little spin I wanted to put on things. Go out and get the contract first, then worry about getting the credit. All right. So those are all the questions that we got. I'm going to stop sharing because I want to look at the Q&A real quick. All right. And see if there's anything there. And if there's not, Q&A. All right. Oh, thank you. Everyone saying I can hear you. Yes, yes. Okay, we're good. So no questions are in the Q&A. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing again and get to the presentation. If there are no questions. All right, perfect. All right. Let me go back to sharing. And Katrina, we still good? You can hear me and everything?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. Let me just. When I do this, it pops everything all around. Okay, what's going on here? All right. We should be back to share. Yes, Katrina?
Yes.
All right, perfect. All right. So this business planning tool that I talked about, a lean canvas. What is a lean canvas? Simply put, it's a one-page document that allows you to put all of your thoughts, all the things that you need to do on one piece of paper and streamline your business plan. And here's a shocking piece of information that I give to people that they always say, I didn't know that, but this is what it is. The business plan is for you. It's not for the bank. It's not for the investors. It's for you. You as the business owner, you need a map to make sure that you stay on track, that you're doing the right things, to make sure that your ideas do make sense. The business plan is not for them. It's for you. Okay? Keep that in mind. When you're writing these business plans, you're writing them to yourself. Make sure they make sense because they don't make sense to you. They don't make sense to no one else. So the business plan is for you. Here's an example of a lean canvas, what it looks like. I'll make sure that you guys get a copy of what the lean canvas is, and we're going to go through every element of the lean canvas right now so you get an understanding on how to use it. This is a powerful, powerful tool. Anytime, every time I look to launch a new line of business, I create that blue ocean, I always do one of these every single time. Now, people don't see me doing it, but I do it. I'm behind the scenes. I'm making sure that everything that I think I'm trying to do makes sense. Okay. So we're going to go through every step of the lean canvas, every element. There are 9 elements of the lean canvas. And the first element is, what problem are you solving for your customer? What problem are you solving for your customer? That's the first thing you need to understand. What problem am I solving? Let's give an example. When Apple came out with the iPhone, what problem were they trying to solve? Steve Jobs was like, you have a MP3 player, you got a camera, you got a phone, you got all these gadgets. I'm gonna put them into one. It was efficiency, and all of us were like, man, I gotta have one. So much so that people line up outside these Apple stores after every product launch to buy the new Apple. So what problem are you trying to solve? Okay, that's the first. And typically, we try to say have two or three in each one of these boxes or each one of these elements. Try to have two or three things that you want to write down and think through. Two, how does your product or service solve the identified problem? So how does your product solve that problem? Again, using the Apple example, Steve Jobs condensed all of those electronics that we typically would have bought or have bought and put them into one. Right? What is your product or service going to do? How is it going to solve that problem? Three, what makes your product or service unique or compelling to customers? Now, I just told you about the blue ocean. What would make your product or service unique, or you could actually create a different market segment for customers? Right? Think about what someone could potentially do to a smartphone and create a different market. Just a thought. But that's what you need to do. You know, what makes your product unique? Why am I going to buy your phone? There's 50 phones on the market. What makes yours unique? Who is your target customer? And be specific. And I'm going to pause right here for a minute because this is where I see most people get stuck. Who is your customer? Be specific. When I first started out, you know who my customer was? Public housing authorities. I created my programs specifically for public housing authorities. And I'll tell you why I did that. The biggest reason was I knew that the customers that I was looking to serve lived in public housing. I wanted those people who were marginalized, who were underserved, who were under-resourced. So I didn't have to go out and market and try to find people. I just went to the public housing authority and said, hey, I want to help. Let me help your people for free. In exchange, I want you to give me some office space for free. That's how I got my first office. It was a barter, no money. You give me that office space, I'll serve your people. And that's what I did. And then, of course, I built my programs. Then the funders came in and all that good stuff. But be specific about your customer. That is very important. I'm just going to pop into the Q&A real quick to see if there's anything I need to answer. What's the difference between a plan, business plan, lean canvas, and executive summary? Great question. Okay, so business plan and lean canvas, no difference. Just the lean canvas is just a way of writing a business plan. There are different formats for a business plan. Lean canvas is just the canvas. I mean, just the model I like to use because it's simple, it's really easy to read, and you don't have to spend a lot of time on it. And it really helps you flush out your thoughts relatively quickly. So business plan, lean canvas, same thing. Executive summary is usually part of, or just a portion of a business plan. So in the lean canvas, you don't have an executive summary, but from the lean canvas, I could write an executive summary. So an executive summary in your longhand business plans is just part of the business plan. It's usually the first thing they give you, the executive summary, which is summarizing everything about your product, business, and all that. And then you get into the specifics. That's part of the business plan, the executive summary. So business plan, lean canvas, same thing. Executive summary is part of a business plan. Hopefully that answered your question. If it didn't, send me another question. All right. Next part of the lean canvas. How will you reach and distribute your product or service to your customers? How will you reach them? How will we reach them? Let's look at my example. Public housing authorities. How was I going to reach my customers? The housing authority staff members sent them to me. They send them to me. Hey, do you need help finding a job? You need help writing a resume? You need help this? These are the things I started out with. Go see Kenny Smith. He's sitting over there in our office and he'll help you. Right? So my strategy was just sit and be right there where my customers were. You may have to, you may have a product that is based on the internet. And you got to market to people on the internet, or you may have a auto care company and you want to make it mobile. You're going to drive to people's houses, right? So it just depends, but you need to understand how will you reach your target audience, the people you want to be customers. How are you going to reach them? Okay. Big question. How will your business make money? On this section, you do have to spend a little time. And there's a good book. I'm gonna yeah. It's costing. I can't remember the name of it. It's costing. But really what it does, it allows you to break down the actual cost of your product and your service to help you better understand what you're supposed to charge for your product and your service. Most people don't know how much it costs them to do what they do. So they don't know what to charge. You need to understand how much does it really cost me to do this? And unfair advantage for Kenny Smith, but I'll tell you where I learned this. I learned this back in 1986. I did say 1986. I used to work for Pizza Hut. I was a shift supervisor. And we literally broke down the cost of a pizza based on every expense the business had. So I knew how much it cost to make a pizza, which helped me understand how many people I needed working at my store, how much product I needed to order, everything. And we were doing this by hand. We didn't have computers back then, but we literally broke down the cost of one pizza, the ingredients, the electricity, the rent, the gas, the insurance. You need to understand what does it truly cost you to do what you do so that you know what to charge people. And part of that cost includes your profit. So if it costs you $1 to make something, you sure enough better be charged at least $1.50 for it, $1.25 something, right? Because you're in business to make money. Even nonprofits are in business to make money. We make money. That's another story for another day, but nonprofits make money. Don't get it twisted. I just said it. What are the costs associated with running your business? Again, those are things you're going to flush out. What metrics will you use to measure success for your business? This is one of those intangible type of metrics, but you need to forecast out there. What are the things that I'm going to look at to ensure that I'm being successful? That this is just not an expensive hobby, right? You can count how many sales you get. You can count how many customers you have. You can, whatever you want to do, but depending on your business model and what you're doing, you want to put out those different measures that are going to help you understand that I am being successful in what I'm trying to do. If you don't do that, you might just have an expensive hobby and not know it. Okay. What advantage do you have that may make it hard or difficult for others to replicate your what you offer? That's that blue ocean. But everyone has when I teach this in different formats, I call it a superpower. What's your superpower? What is your unique advantage? And your unique advantage could be something as simple as my father is the head of manufacturing for Nike. So therefore, I get a 25% discount on everything that I buy for him that I put in my stores. No one else gets that because he does that because he's my father. That's a unique advantage that no one else has. Right? It could be a relationship that no one else has that truly gives you a competitive advantage over everyone else. So think about that. What are some of the unique things that you have? that makes your product or service a little bit different. So that's the lean canvas. I'm going to send you one through Miss Sophie and Miss Katrina. I would highly encourage you, especially if you're just now getting started, go through this document. It will help you understand, does this make sense for me to get involved in this? Does this make sense? Because as you're looking at the problems you're trying to solve, one of the things you're going to do, you're going to start looking at, how are people currently solving this problem? Right? So good exercise to go through. Think we're going to make it through. So you are a salesman. You are a salesman. You're going to be the top salesman for your business. If you're not doing it, no one else is going to do it. But most people don't like selling. And I think it's because you may not understand what selling truly is. I was in sales, if you can't tell by now, for 20 years. My natural personality is not a talkative person. I'm very reserved, very shy, believe it or not. But when I got into sales, it kind of helped me overcome some of that. But also it helped me understand that selling is actually fun. It actually is fun when done right. But here's what most people know salespeople to be: a person who sells things or promotes services and stuff like that, trying to get people to buy something from them. And most people that I deal with or talk to, I say, well, tell me about a salesman. They'll say, used car salesman. That's usually the first thing that comes up. And let me tell you something about used car salespeople. They could be the most valuable people on the face of the earth. Nothing against used cars salespeople, but the industry has kind of forced them to sell the way they do. It's not I'm not going to say it's always the people, because they could be what I consider the salesperson that you are going to be, that you need to be to grow your business. This is the kind of salesperson that I am, and the kind of salesperson that you're going to be for your business. You're going to be a value consultant who has expertise in your industry, in your product, or your service. And you're going to share your expertise with your potential customers to solve their problems. And because they see value in your knowledge, they're going to be willing to pay you. So become a value expert consultant in your industry, period. I can tell you right now, when it comes to business startup, when it comes to social services, when it comes to all this stuff I'm telling you all about, I am an expert. I don't care. I can sit in the room with anybody and talk about this stuff for days and nights and years and all that stuff. But I've spent my time studying, making mistakes, learning and growing in this space. So now people are willing to pay me to sit down and listen to what I have to say. And if you see right here, I had 5 tips I wanted to share with you guys tonight. And I'm only going over 3. But tip number 4 was continuous learning. For you to continue to be the value expert in your industry, you got to continue to learn. If you're not reading books, if you're not listening to podcasts like you guys asked me about, if you're not listening to audiobooks, if you're not going to targeted events, continue to grow your knowledge in your industry, you will get passed by and you'll no longer be the value consultant that people are looking for. As long as you're that value expert consultant, I'll tell you, you never have to worry about chasing money. I promise you. You become that person, money comes to you. People come to you. They realize this is the guy, this is the girl that can do this. We need to go see him or her. They're the expert. So become that value person who is the expert in your industry, and you never have to chase money again. Okay? We're almost done, and we'll have time for some more questions. Number 3. So I told you I had 3. We talked about the lean canvas. We talked about, what was the other thing we talked about? I don't forgot already. That's 57 for you. But anyway, this was number 3. Reinvest your earnings. I did think I talked about this already. Reinvest your earnings into income generating assets or ideas. Make sure you do that. Every piece of money that I get, I reinvest some of it somewhere. I can remember getting my first check from the housing authority. They had already given me office space for free, but then they was like, well, we're going to pay you something to do this. And I got my first $15,000 contract with the housing authority in 2012, I think it was. And at the time, I was using someone else's laptop and projector to do classes and all that stuff. And when I got that first piece of money, the first thing I bought was my own laptop and my own projector. Now I didn't need to use that other person's stuff. Those now became my tools when I traveled around and was doing my presentations, introducing people to me. I had my own laptop and my own projector, and it helped me get more grants, more contracts, more money. But I invested that money back into my business. I didn't go out and spend all of it. And number 5, take care of your 2 greatest assets, your money and your people. Now, I do pretty good with the money. I do okay with the people. And it's something that I'm getting better with, because sometimes I can be kind of black and white on issues, and I've removed the human element to things. Now, my wife grounds me, because if you ever met my wife, she's all bubbly and everything, she keeps me humbled in the sense of, these are people, Kenny, and I'm not the type of person who I'm not insensitive. I sometimes come off as robotic and bottom line type driven. So I have to work on the people thing. So, making sure my people know that I care for them, and making sure that they know they're important to me, and which they are, but sometimes I just kind of look past it, not purposely, just I'm built different when it comes to those types of things. But I'm getting better. I'm getting better. So those are my 5 tips in starting your business, getting your business going, growing your business. If I'll take some questions, and if you want to raise your hands and we can get off mute, and you can ask some live questions, or if you just want the recording, what's your poison on how you want to do this? You want to just put them in the chat. Let me know what you're thinking, if anything. All right, well, this is what I'll do. I'll go ahead and send the recording to Miss Sophie and Miss Katrina. They can send it out to you. When is the next session? That's a great question. I think that's going to be up to Miss Sophie and Miss Katrina, as it relates to when we might want to do it, what topic we would have. Because the goal is to help people go from where they are to where they want to be. So we're going to need probably a little bit more input from you guys on, does this become a panel where I start bringing some additional individuals on here, like some attorneys or accountants? I mean, this can go wherever you guys need it to go. So I guess that's my long way of saying, I think you guys should talk to Miss Sophie and Miss Katrina and tell them what you want and what you need. And then let us kind of bring it to your attention. Okay. All right, so I got a raised hand and I got a question. So I'm gonna answer the question in the chat first, and then I'm gonna go to the raised hand. I'll unmute you, L'Oreal. Give me 1 second. Okay, I have a business venture I'm pushing and have difficulty talking to you about what I'm doing until everything is in place. Oh, okay. So you don't want to talk about. I'm gonna unmute you, because I think I want to hear your question, not typed. And I'm navigating y'all, so give me a second. Give me a second. Okay, unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good
My
evening.
name is Jamila, and my question is all encompassing about everything I do, anything I'm pursuing. I'm very hushed. I don't talk about it. I don't share, and I like to say until the ink is dry. However, I feel like with some of that, I kind of put roadblocks in front of myself because I don't know who I should talk to and I just don't talk to anyone. So I want to know how to overcome that obstacle of being so closed mouthed about what I'm doing, not reveal all of my information, but try to connect with people that I should connect with and open conversations in arenas that I should be in.
Okay. So can I ask, I'm gonna ask you a question. Why do you feel that you don't want to share, or why do you not share your information? Share what you're doing with other people.
Um, it's learned behavior from past scenarios. I come from an entrepreneurial background with my family, and I was taught that you don't share your ideas until they are solid.
Okay. All right. So couple things I would say. Um, Sharing ideas sometimes, not all times, is a good thing because you get people to give you their opinion, their objection to your idea, almost trying to talk you off the ledge. Oh, and you start to, you kind of see the what concerns people would have about your idea, which would help you go back and refine and see, okay, is this really a true objection to what I'm trying to do? Is this valid? Is this something I need to address in what I'm trying to do? So I might need to change what I'm doing a little bit, or is it just somebody hating? So sometimes that can be the case. Um, I will say, and I'm not going to make any assumptions that you come from a community like mine. We tend to believe that people want to take and steal our ideas and kind of put them into practice and use themselves.
Yes, correct.
And I could tell you, and please, I hope everyone takes this the right way. When I was struggling and doing bad and just trying to make it, the last people I was listening to, the people who was next to me, them the last people I'm listening to. I'm like, dude, because if you had the answers or if you were this, you wouldn't be sitting here next to me. So I would always talk to them because they would always a lot of them had some good stuff to tell me. Oh, Kenny, that's not gonna work, and here's why. And I'm gonna give you a prime example. I met with a late, no, I'm not gonna give you that example, but I'm just gonna tell you, share. It probably gives some good insight. Now, if you just found a cure for cancer, I might not share that. But if you're just kicking around ideas in your head and you're trying to see if they're valid, you think they have some merit, if you think you can get some traction on them, yeah, I think it's good to share ideas with people. Now, here's the thing: there are places you can go to do that as well. You guys familiar with pitch days? We're going to do a pitch day on the 23rd, but there's a lot of sprouting up pitch sessions where you actually can stand in front of people who are investors and pitch your ideas to them, and they'll give you feedback. Let you know, oh, you might want to tweak this, you might want to do this, you might want to do that. Because see, these people don't have time to try to take your idea. They're trying to find an idea that they can invest money in and make money on. So they ain't got time to try to take your idea and run off and do something with it. That's not what they're there for. They're there trying to find the next best idea to invest in. So check out some pitch sessions here in Katrina, Miss Sophie. I'll get a list of some because they have like a million cup pitch and just a lot of places you can just go pitch your ideas to, and people will listen to you. Hopefully that helps. All right, Miss Harper.
Hi, good evening,
Good
and
evening.
thank you for hosting this insightful Zoom. Um, my question is around, I guess, like the first 2 years of business and what they call research in the development stage. Is there any type of, I guess, do's or definitely don't do or must do's that you could think back that you could share when it relates to like reporting for tax purposes or when it comes to the government in a situation where you might not have made money, or the money that you made in those first 2 years might not have been a substantial amount, so you didn't file. And it's kind of like a rolled up question, but outside of SBA.gov, who are the best people to talk to kind of help you understand what you should and shouldn't be doing? I know with tax professionals, they're just going to go with what you bring them. So unless you know what it exactly is you're trying to accomplish, I haven't had much success with speaking with like a tax professional on the right way to do things as it relates to my first years in business and then that startup time.
Okay. All right. A lot of questions in there, but I'm gonna repeat back to you what I think I heard
Okay.
and try to answer it. And you don't have to acknowledge what I'm getting ready to say. But it sounds like you think you might have made a mistake and you don't want to get in trouble. So let me put you at ease. And everyone, I'm not a tax guy, but I can tell you from my experience. The federal government, believe it or not, from my experience, is not out to get everybody. And you can have back taxes and or made mistakes, and they will work with you. And I can say this openly because at one time, the federal government said I owed them $45,000. And of course, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. No, that's not correct. Long story short, after several meetings and everything else, they worked with me. They didn't, oh, we're going to seize this. I can tell you from my experience, they're not in a gotcha type place. Now, if you're trying to be sneaky, you're trying to be tricky, we know when we're trying to do something like that. Yeah, that's going to get found out. But if you clearly make some mistakes, they've always worked with me because I've made tons of mistakes. I'm talking about tons of mistakes. And so as far as your first 2 years, first off, I don't know what the structure of your organization is, but if you are a business and you don't make any money, still file your tax report and just put zeros on it. Just zeros, right? If you file your taxes and you made a little bit of money, depending on your legal structure, in most instances, you can write everything off and report zero and not to pay any taxes, right? So it sounds like you may have made a little bit of money, may not have reported that little bit of money. I would encourage you to, the year you didn't file, go file that tax return and file it zero. They may charge you like $30, $50 for a late filing. Go file it. The year when you made some money, get with someone, sit down, put together the best you can what you think you made and write it down, but file that report as well. Because I always say, if you're paying into the system, they leave you alone, even if you might be wrong a little bit. But if you don't pay into the system, that's when you start getting the flags and stuff like that. So it sounds like you probably need to file one with zero for sure. And then the second one, try to figure out what you made. You had some expenses there. If you were working out of your house, you could write some of your house expenses off. If you were driving your own car, you can drive from your car. If you're paying a cell phone, your computer, internet, you probably could write all that down and have no tax liability. But the advice I would give to you, because you that's what you ultimately ask, be upfront, communicate, be honest. That's what I would do.
Thank you. And great job picking apart that question, because my first year I didn't file. I made a couple of hundred or whatever, but I didn't file. And this year I'm like, I definitely need to, in order to, keep my business going in the right direction. So thank you for that.
No problem. No problem at all. Okay. I think that is it. I see nothing else in the chat. I don't see another raised hand, and it is 6:57. And please get with Miss Sophie, Miss Katrina, let them know what we might need to bring to the table next time. We'll do what we can to help you guys get started. Feel free to apply to the incubator. And with that, Miss Sophie, Miss Katrina, do you guys have anything you want to say? Miss Sophie, I'll let you off punishment. You know you're not on punishment. That's just my way of saying I'm gonna let you off. Hold on, yeah, Miss Sophie. Okay. Okay, Miss Sophie, if you have anything you want to say before we go. Katrina, you as well.
This is Sophie. I'm not sure who all is on here that I've talked with. I'm going to ask a favor. If anybody's on the call that that I've talked with, or that's from North Carolina, put it like that. Anybody on the call from North Carolina, Mr. Kenny, is there a way I could put my email address, share my email address so that they would have a way of contacting me? Because in that way, I can always know that I'm providing information to the right people.
Yes.
That makes any sense.
So what? You know what? I could probably tell you. Okay. Yes. I think I'm getting good with this web chat, I think. Okay, wait a minute. There's a way. There's a way. I'm putting your email in the chat, and I'm going to see if it. Now, can everyone see their chat? No. Wait a
No,
minute.
sir.
Okay, everyone get a pen out. This is Miss Sophie, can you give me your email address, please?
I sure will. My email address is sunderwood, UNDERWOOD, at Gracemar, one word, GRACEMAR.org. sunderwood@gracemar.org. Thank you.
All right, and Miss Katrina will give you the last word.
Okay, I just want to say hey to everyone and thank you for attending. You should already have my email address, but if you don't, it's KA Turner, that's TURNER, at gracemar.org. And I want to thank you for joining this second session, and remember that there's more to come. And if we don't connect before the holidays, stay safe and come prepared with new questions as we continue our workshops in 2025.
With that, thank you, everyone. Have a great holiday. Talk to you all soon.